Hello everyone, this is Mr. Bystrak checking in. Today is Wednesday, September 30th, and I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to take some time to do a little update to our community. If anyone watched last night's Board of Education meeting, we live stream all the meetings now, just so everyone knows, but if anyone watched that last night, one of our topics of conversation toward the end of the meeting was phasing students back into our classrooms. So that's one of the primary purposes of me reaching out to everyone today. I will just note that yesterday marked our third week of school. So it was 3 weeks ago yesterday that school started. I think we started off very well in our fully remote model of instruction. We've continued to have a high rate of connectivity between our teachers and our students and our families, and I'd like to see that trend continue to the extent that we are still in that remote model. So back in August, when we initially announced that we were going to be starting off the year fully remote, one of the things that we had said was that we wanted to do this because of safety purposes, but also to ensure that we're providing the highest quality instructional model possible. So one of the things that we'd also said too is that we were going to work to phase students back into our campus in a gradual manner in order to help ensure that safety and to ensure that we can make sure we're taking care of students and meeting their needs. So I think I can safely say that we've been able to get all of our staff. I mentioned we have over 1,000 staff, and everyone's been back on campus. I think we've been operating in a safe manner. We've developed internal protocols that we've been able to test out in terms of safety and movement through buildings. The next step really is to start bringing some of our students back. Last week, we began bringing some students back for in-person evaluations, like with speech pathologists and psychologists, things like that, and that's been going well. Again, we developed protocols to be able to do that safely. Our teachers, and some of you may have already been contacted, in some of our special education self-contained classrooms. So these are students that might participate in programming in smaller class settings because of special needs. Our teachers in those classes are in the process of or have already reached out to families to get a sense for who might be interested in coming back for in-person instruction and support. We still have an obligation as a district to offer a fully remote model of instruction for any families that feel that's what's in their children's best interest. But we are moving toward, as we discussed back in August, bringing students back for in-person instruction. So I mentioned bringing kids back for screenings and evaluations. I mentioned some of our self-contained classrooms just now. We're also looking at our universal pre-kindergarten. So this is just students over at Allendale and Northwood that we have our own internal in-house UPK programs. The teachers are in the process of reaching out to some of our families to talk about bringing students back for a couple of days a week to start off for some in-person support and instruction. Also looking at some of our English language learners, so students for whom English isn't their native language. Some of those students require some additional support, and we're looking to also bring them back as well for a certain level of support. A larger group that we're looking at, and when we talked in August and over the past couple of months, we talked about the idea of elementary students potentially being prioritized as one of those groups that would be more in need of some in-person instruction and support. So we have begun active conversations about how we can work to bring our elementary students back to campus for some in-person instruction and support. Now, I will say the governor's guidelines have not changed. New York State Education Department's guidelines have not changed. This would still be in some sort of a hybrid model. So with basically breaking the student population up into two separate groups, and some coming in a couple of days a week, and then the other cohort coming in another couple of days a week. We're still working through some models with that. What I would say, it's likely that it would be 2 days a week in-person instruction in some way, shape, or form, 2 days a week, probably 3 days a week, I should say, of some sort of remote instruction, and possibly 1 day a week where everyone, all cohorts are just doing remote instruction. So we are going to be sending a survey out later today, probably this afternoon, maybe around dinner time, maybe somewhere in that range, and we'll ask parents if basically we're assuming that everybody is going to be interested in coming back for that hybrid in-person support, unless you tell us otherwise. So in the survey, the only people we need to fill out the survey, and we're just sending this to our elementary and up through 5th grade. So I will say this is also going to include students at East Middle School as well that are in 5th grade. So that's kindergarten through 5th grade on both sides of town. If you are interested in keeping just a fully remote model of instruction, you don't feel it's appropriate for your child to be on campus, you fill out that survey and let us know. And there is a space on the survey if you have questions or anything like that, you can let us know. But we are asking for that survey to be completed by next Wednesday at 4 p.m. That's October 7th, I should say, at 4 p.m. This is a very necessary first step because we just need to know how many students is it that we need to be able to take care of on campus and meet their educational needs. So this is why this is an important first step. If you watched the board meeting last night too, you'll know that we discussed we're going to be forming some committees that are going to include a variety of stakeholders at the district level. We have, of course, our administrators. We're going to have some leadership from within our teachers, our teacher group, as well as our Civil Service Employees Association, Board of Education members, and families. We need parent participation and conversation about these because we have some options to consider. One of the things that I think it's very important to note, and I noted this last night at the board meeting, which will be up, we'll have the link to that if you wanted to go back and watch it, but is that right now, I believe we've provided, and I think I said last night, the Cadillac as far as remote instruction models are concerned. We didn't hold any teachers back. Everybody is fully and actively engaged in working with students, which means that when we start to bring students and transition to this hybrid approach, that it will have some kind of an impact on the instructional programming, the model that we're following, because we have a limited number of teachers. We only have so many teachers. So those teachers, the teachers that right now are fully engaged in remote instruction, are going to have to be toggling between working with students that are in person in front of them, but also they're going to be working with students that are in a hybrid model as well. And we'll have to talk about how that's going to best play out for our students. We do believe that daily contact is important with teachers, and that's something that we are going to strive for, but we do need to have some dialogue and discussion. So, and I haven't mentioned our secondary. I haven't mentioned grades 6 through 12 as of this point, and I will tell you that they're coming. We will be discussing, we'll be following a similar process, but right now we want to be able to focus our resources, our energy on working to get our elementary students back online, back in for some in-person instruction. And we're actually we're looking to do this at some point during November is when we're trying to have this process start to take place. So, and as far as our self-contained classrooms are concerned too, we're looking at a similar time frame, possibly a little earlier than that, maybe the end of October, but more to come on that. With some of the smaller groups, we took a more individualized approach and reached out to families directly on an individual basis. For the elementary group, we really do need to have kind of a larger conversation before some of those individual conversations start to take place. So once again, I would like to thank everyone for the entire school community for all their time and energy and exerting all the energy and resources to making sure that our students started off the year in a good manner. Our teachers, our administrators, our support staff, our families, our students. Again, we've had a very high rate of connectivity and engagement and attendance over these past few weeks, and I expect that to continue. But again, I think it should be noted that that doesn't come easy, that a lot of people are working very hard to make sure that happens. So I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will continue to provide these updates on a weekly basis to our school community. So until the next time, until my next update, take care and don't forget to read.